Good day and welcome to 11D30 Tech. I'm Earl Cannonbear, and today we're going to take a look at this 3D printed record turntable object adapter for photography. It's just a thing I designed to go on top of a record player, so you can put your 3D printed things on top of it, turn the record player on, and take some video of it. Except you got to get it centered. Gotta have it centered. Like that. So yeah. That's how you do it. Huh? Stick around. I'll show you how I designed it and talk a little bit more about it. So once you start 3D printing things, you may want to take video of it or photographs of it. One way that I've seen people do that is with a turntable. Now I've seen the very simple turntable solutions to very complex, some of them even driven by Arduinos. But it occurred to me that I have two record players in my house, both of which would work to be a turntable. I have this really complex digital DJ CD player from, it's actually a CD player, but it looks like a record player, from Newmark that I can control the speed of from very fast to very slow, and it's going to work great. I also have a USB record player that I'll show you in the future here that would work as well. So the challenge with a record player is to design something to lift the object above the spindle on the record player so you can set your object on top. And that's what I have designed.
Okay, so here I am referencing my photographs I took of the turntable in question with my handy dandy calipers, and I am going to plug those dimensions into Fusion 360 here. And yeah, there you can see my first mistake. I put in the radius for the diameter, so I'll have to go back and fix that later on. Yep, quickly labeling everything so I know what these things are in months down the road when I go to work on this again. And then I extruded the bottom part and the top part. And I'm going to set up a section analysis here so I can see the middle. And I did originally have the top completely flat with just a hole kind of drilled down the middle there. But I eventually decided to just put the hole all the way through because the object will be sitting on top anyway and be hiding that hole. And then I decided to put in the dimensions for my 3D printer and realized that my diameter was a radius and had to go to the Googles to convert that. So yeah, that's what I'm doing here. And the nice thing about Fusion is you can go in and just change that one parameter and it fixes it. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, so to speak. And that's what I did. And now I am putting in the dimensions for my printer for the print bed, and that looks about right. So now I got to figure out how many slices or how many different pieces I got to cut this into. And I finally decided that I really only needed to do thirds. But I wanted a slick way to join these together. So I went through and made some dovetail connections. And this is me trying to figure out how to do that. Dimensioning the actual dovetail. And I was just kind of picking numbers out of my head and they seemed to work. The trick with this is I had to make the dovetail cutting object an actual object. It had to have actual dimensions. It couldn't just be a line. So I gave it the dimensions of the tolerance of my printer, which is about 0.3 mil. And then the other thing that I kept screwing up was where it connected at the center to get it to join up. So you'll see me kind of struggle with that throughout this process. And I'm just going through there and taking out the sharp lines out of the connection. And yeah, still having a little bit of a struggle with where those connect and not joining when I went to slice all three through that object or split my body there. That's what I was fighting with. And if you're thinking, wow, this guy's going real fast here, but this is sped up about 800%. So just so you can get a general overview of some of the challenges and struggles within Fusion 360 that I see a lot of people go through. It is very powerful, but sometimes it can be kind of a bear cat to get to do what you want it to do. But eventually I did get it to slice into thirds and was able to kick that out as a still file and print it. But just so you can see kind of the process that it took to do that. And if you want to know more about how I did this, go ahead and leave a comment in the comments below and I can walk through what I'm doing. But for now, you can just kind of get a quick overview. Yep, still struggling with that connection there in the middle, but eventually I did get that sucker to do what I wanted it to do. And I'm sure there's better ways and easier ways to do it, but you know, this is the way that I came up with. Yep, and again, I had to make sure that that went past that body so I could split it. And then the third time, I think here, yep, there's my problem there where that wasn't connecting there at the center. But now I think I finally got it all connecting and got it so I could split. No, still, see, it's a struggle. The struggle is real. That's what I had to do and join there at the center. And I think now I got it to work. No, I didn't. Still have to go further past the edge. Yep. Good times. But yeah, so the struggle is real. And now I kicked that out as a still file. There we go. And I was able to get that to fit just barely on the bed of my Robo R2. And the thing here that I was experimenting with is not printing a bottom or any bottom layers. And that really seems to speed up the time because something super flat like this that takes up your entire bed, not printing that any bottom layers can speed it up by quite a bit, save you some plastic as well. So that's what I was doing here. There we go. 0 bottom layers. And just trying to figure out what the best infill pattern was. And I'm in Pertha Slicer here, an older version I just updated recently, but this is still the old version. There you can see the no bottom layers, just going right into infill. And that seemed to work pretty well. And we're going to go to a little time lapse there. And then here is me taking it off the print bed. And there's my sort of sample piece. I tested in white and then printed 2 black and then printed a 3rd black one. And I think what I'm going to probably end up with is printing out in gray, a more neutral color, so it matches better or doesn't absorb all the light like the black does. And if I'm displaying something that's black or white, the gray should be fine. And even if I have printed something gray, it should still work, but we'll see. Pound, 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 get in your home. So yeah, just printed in one piece 3 times and it went together. Beauty. And then you can see the bottom there. No infill or no bottom layers. Work great. And then here's me putting it on my Audio Technica USB turntable. And then I had to just take some time to figure out how to get it to turn without destroying my needle. But if you just raise the needle arm up and then move it to the left a little bit, it will rotate. And then you can just kind of let it sit there. And then here's one of my other learnings too, is that I need a way to center the objects on the turntable. So I think my next version I will take and put in circular and square targets there, emanating from the middle, and maybe 10 centimeter or 10 millimeter spaces. But anyway, now I'm testing the slow-mo on my iPhone, and with the LED lights I have in my family room there, they were a little flickery, but then I was like, well, I've got this lag table that might make a really good light box. So let's see if I can steal this here from the family room, put it on a folding table, and let's put that shower curtain material out around it to diffuse my sort of homemade hacked lights and see if this will work as a light box. And I'm just going through it real quick and putting on the diffusion material, which is like a $3 shower curtain from Home Depot, I believe. And just taping it up and yep, moving the camera there. And then I made a mistake of putting the material on the outside and not the inside, so you could still see the wooden lack leg, but I fixed that. Now I've got the material on the inside. Yes, that seems to be working very well. And then move the camera. Yep. And yeah, let's get some lights on this so you can see the object on there. And then I was like, oh, if I take a heat gun, will it smooth it on? Yeah, a little bit, but I decided not to really worry about that at this time. I'll worry about that later. And I hooked up my Home Depot lights and did some tests again. So yeah, there's kind of what it looks like. And then I hooked up a light dimmer to see if I could slow down the turntable, and it did not. It just turned it off, as you can see there. Like, oh, okay, that's not going to work. But it was worth a try. But I think what I need there is a motor, a variable speed motor controller to get that to work. But I think what I will do in the meantime is just use my DJ turntable that's got a speed adjustment on there. But for now, I am just checking the proof of concept. And yeah, that seems to work. And a little more proof of concept. Then I was curious if I could slow it down in post. So this is me testing the various frame rates and resolutions in my iPhone. Yep, so that was the 24 frames at just, 1080. And this is 240 frames. And I was wondering, well, what if I slow this down from 240 and maybe like half that speed? So this should be the next one coming up here. Yep, and again, I got that flicker, but I think that could go away with the right lighting setup. So that's 25%. And that looks pretty good. That's not horrible. And then there's 240 frames per second, 1080, 50%. 100% at 60. Yeah, so it's just a little too fast at normal speeds. And then there's that 50%. Yeah, slow it down like half, and I would say it's about perfect for that speed to look at your object in a very spinning kind of way. And I think this is, 25%. There you can get a good look at the trash walker with things actually in it. And I did one more here at 2K, 60 frames, so I could push in a little bit on post. Yep, that's what I did there. And then one last one, really slowed down, but it gets a little blurry. Get a good look at my door hook hanger. Well, not mine, but one that I customized. I'll put a link in the description to all the things that I'm testing here. And so I think what we'll do real quick is we'll wrap up and go over some next steps and some learnings. So yeah, using the record player as a object turntable seemed to work just fine. The light dimmer doesn't slow it down, so we will need to find a way to slow that down, as fixing that footage in post is kind of a pain. Next steps for the record player, we need to obviously find a way to slow it down. I'm not sure if we use a motor dimmer or find some way of doing that. I could also look for one at a thrift store and just hack that to be slower. But for now, I'm going to use the DJ turntable. And maybe even down the road, I build one off Thingiverse. So we'll just have to see. So using the LAC table as a photo booth worked great. The shower curtain works great as a light diffuser. And the lights seem to work too. So all that working in a very good working kind of way. I need to find a better way to attach that curtain. Maybe I 3D print some sort of adapter to get the curtain to stick to the legs better. I need to order another LAC table to replace the one I stole from the family room. And I'm wondering if I should use LED lights on the legs themselves, or perhaps even build some Workbench LEDs like the ones Adam Savage uses on Tested. He's got a really good YouTube video on how to build those. And lastly, the actual adapter. It works great. We don't need to use any bottom layers. So the next steps for this are to create a center targeting system so I can place the objects centered a little bit easier. And that's just going to be some squares and rings on the top surface. So I know where center is, depending on how big the object is. And then I'm going to print out another version in a more neutral color.
I'm Real Cannon Bear for 11D30 Tech 3D Printing. Thanks for watching. If you found some value in this video, please hit the like button, the thumbs up button. And if you want to see future videos, please hit that subscribe button. I think that's all I got.